Hey everybody, weekly Q&A. I don't even know if this is working, but we're giving it a shot. It is early morning here in Mexico, and I love you guys. Like, I really do. This is just so cool to be able to do this every week. Couple quick little announcements before we get rocking and rolling on the good shit. Thing number one is I will probably miss a few weeks. We are expecting a baby number 3, any day now. In fact, Ilka's having what are known as Braxton Hicks contractions, which means like she's getting those pre-contractions in the last 2 births. Those happened about a week or 2 before, and she's had them for about a week, which means we can literally have a baby any day now, today included. So it may get a little interesting around here. And of course, for those of you guys who haven't seen already, version 2.0 of the book is out. I'm actually holding up version 1.0. A couple of you guys asked me, you were a little confused where to get it. If you order it from Amazon, it'll send you the new book instead of the old version. It'll send you a version 2.0. If you're already on Kindle, it should update automatically. Same with Audible. I've submitted Audible, but it is not. There's an approval process that takes a couple weeks. They check for quality and sound and I don't know, whatever they got to do. They may reject it, but it may just take a few weeks. Those should update automatically, and if you want a new physical copy, you can order it. What's different? A couple people asked me why I wrote this, and I'll tell you, the biggest thing is after a year of... When I first wrote this book, it was really more about my experience as an agency owner and what I knew. But after working with like thousands of you guys and answering questions, I have a better idea of the sticking points that are common to all of us. So I wanted to include more of those. And it's a deeper idea about how to run an agency where you do something once and get paid for it twice, 3 times, 4 times. So there's more leverage built into it, meaning you can scale with a lot more ease. When I first started doing this, my first 10 clients took me like 40 to 80 hours a week, and it was always a struggle balancing sales and delivery. Now I want you guys to understand how you can get paid for doing something once and get paid for it in perpetuity and do that forever, and then also how to like really survive recessions and really just scale this thing. And then as well, all the stuff we're doing to go phoneless. Over the last 2.5 years, our agency has gone phoneless. I know there's a lot of noise in the space of everybody going, booked appointments, man, booked appointments, get a gazillion. I get somebody message me every day, every other day about get booked appointments. And we don't need booked appointments in our agency. And the actual leads we get out of this, by the way, are higher quality. We get more people interested, because if I say to you, do you want to book a 60, 90-minute sales call? Or if I say, will you watch a 5-minute video? There'll be far more people willing to watch a 5 more videos. So our closing ratios are probably a little lower, but we get 10 times the amount of opportunities, meaning like if somebody gets 10 sales calls and they're really good and they close 5 of them, they'll close sales. But if they're getting 10 sales calls, we'll get 100 people to watch the video, and we might only close like 25%, but that's 25 clients versus 5. Our agency in many ways is growing faster than I can handle it with 2 kids, and those of you guys who are parents totally understand. So, but I have done this before and kind of know the journey a little bit better than I did the last 2 times I've done it. So anyways, that's all I got for you guys on that announcement. Let's get into the good stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Frankie Finn proudly brings you our weekly Q&A. We got some good stuff on deck today. Steph says, hey guys, does anyone have experience running campaigns for WordPress themes? I was looking to promote my business, which is WordPress themes related, but did not have any success so far. Looking for someone to hire with excellent understanding of this niche. Sorry in advance if this type of post is not allowed. Steph, all good. Here's the deal, okay? WordPress themes are something, this is something I wrote about in version 2.0 of how we're able to sell really expensive stuff without phone calls. WordPress themes are what I call a hammer or a plane ride. And a hammer or a plane ride is like, it's a tool that somebody uses to accomplish something. So if you think about a plane ride, do people really want plane rides, or do they just really want to go on vacation and be at the beach and enjoy the sunshine and the beer and the bikini babes and, swimming in the ocean or whatever, right? Do they just want some time away from the office? Like, the plane ride is a necessary evil. And so the worst thing you can do is, like, if you're in the travel business, is say, our planes are really nice, they have comfortable seats and blah, blah, blah. You want to sell like the time away from the office and all the being in traffic and meetings and bosses and bullshit and spreadsheets and all that. And you want to sell the outcome, which is the vacation. Now, I see this a lot. What happens is when you sell the plane ride, you get very commoditized. Like if you think about actual companies that sell plane rides, they have a hard time staying in business despite all their volume. And It's much better to sell the dream outcome. So this is my way of saying you don't sell WordPress themes. You sell outcomes. And I'll tell you where I saw this the most to give you an illustration of how powerful this switch is. I have many web designer friends who like struggle with this kind of thing, and they sell websites for like, I don't know, $500 to $1,000 for a custom themed WordPress website. And it's like 30, 40 hours of work. Like when you actually add up all the work, they actually don't make a lot of money selling it. I used to have a competing company in our plastic surgery space called MedNet, and MedNet used to sell $40,000 websites that the plastic surgeons did not own, and they got a 2 to 3 year lease on those. And at the end of the 2 to 3 years, they would have to pay $40,000 again to keep their website, or they could get a new one. And you say, how would somebody pay $40,000 for a website? And the answer is really simple, because a plastic surgery has very high value clients, plastic surgeon, in other words, the outcome. And he thinks to himself, if I just get 2 patients, 3 patients over the next 2-3 years, the website will pay for itself. In other words, the value of the outcome is higher than the value of the price. So if you want to sell WordPress themes, like niche it down and start selling the outcome, which in the case of like a plastic surgeon is a couple of patients, right? He wants a couple of patients. The website is just a tool to get him a couple of patients, right? So if you sell the couple of patients and not the website, the WordPress themes, and not the hammer, you'll have a much easier time getting really high value. So I think about like who can most use like this high value outcome, and like how can you position it as that? You'll find you'll be able to sell it a lot easier, and it'll just become inherently more valuable without actually changing what you're doing, because it'll still be a WordPress theme. It'll just be you're selling the outcome of that hammer instead of the hammer. Adam says, would someone be kind enough to take a look at these metrics and share their thoughts? To me, it seems to show high click links, low CPC, but for some reason it also says low engagement, so I'm not sure what to make of it. Thanks, Adam. There's some images attached to this about some Facebook ads. I'll tell you, Adam, those are all the wrong things to be worried about. As someone who spent millions of dollars on Facebook ads, both my own money and my clients' money, here's the thing is like, people get really obsessed with the wrong metric, and I experienced this for years where I was trying to put on a retreat for like entrepreneurs, and I would get sales calls booked for it, and some weeks I would have 40, 50, 60 sales calls booked, like back to back sales calls. And I noticed that for a long time I was just getting the wrong people to show up. And what happened for me was like I would get people who were thinking about starting a business but hadn't actually started one, and those are like cool people, but the retreat just wasn't designed for those kind of people. And so they weren't really, it was going to just take a lot of work for them to really benefit. And I'll tell you why this is so key, because people optimize for all the little numbers in the system instead of the whole system. The biggest thing is like, are the right people coming through, and are you making sales with that thing? People measure click-through rates and engagement rates, and none of that fucking shit matters. In fact, usually I find my best performing ads had so-so engagement, the click-through rates were okay, but at the end of the day, they brought the right fucking people. Like we had a webinar for years that did like $50K a month in new sales in the legal space, and it had actually very, very low numbers. Like I would get, I don't know, a couple hundred people a month to register, and like maybe half of them actually watch it. So we're talking like I would get 150 leads, but of those 150 who watched it, like I would say like 1 in 12 actually bought our shit or something like that. I mean, it's been a couple of years, so I'm probably off a little bit on the numbers, but idea being you don't need huge numbers. You need the right people coming out there. So optimize for that and worry less about all the vanity metrics. Like who cares about your fucking CPC? Who cares about like, is the ad making you money and bringing you the right people? That's my metric, right? That's what I look for. And people get lost in the minutia and go, I'm trying to take my landing page from 25 to 80%. And sometimes that's a good thing, but oftentimes like if you change the angle and bring the wrong people, then you're not really actually accomplishing anything. So there's my rant on that. Amir says, for the dental niche, what would be the best method of outreach? Best stuff, by the way, in like highly professional niches, is to go to the conferences and meet these people face to face. So if that's on the table for you, do that, because I'll tell you, the top players all go to like, marketing conferences and business growth conferences are related around dentistry. So if you go to those, you're going to meet some of the best shoe buyers in the niche, which is a term, by the way, in the new book. Second best thing, by the way, is if you think about, like, this is not just true of the dental niche, but there's a lot of industries where there is an office, and in that office there is a gatekeeper. So if you send an email to the office, you're almost always going to get the gatekeeper, and almost always the gatekeeper is going to delete it. So you can almost send like thousands of messages to dentists and you will get ignored. So for that reason, I'm a big fan of direct mail. We do a lot of stuff with click to mail. And one of the reasons I do that is because it's the same in the legal niche, right? Like if I just go on the contact form to the website and send a message, it's not going to go to the lawyer. It's going to go to his receptionist, who's probably just going to delete it or ignore it. And so what I do is, by using direct mails, I bypass all of that. And I also, nobody sends letters in the mail. By the way, it costs me about $1 a letter using click to mail, and we can do these personalized at scale, right? So I can upload a list of 1,000 lawyers and send all 1,000 lawyers a personalized message using click to mail, and it costs, like, again, $1 a letter. You'd be amazed. You can send out 5 letters and get a client with a really good, irresistible offer. My third thing would be, if you're going to email them, use a program or a tool like Coldlytics, because Coldlytics can get you the actual dentist email and not just the vanity one that'll get ignored, right? Like I said, you have to get the dentist, not the receptionist. Coldlytics has really awesome data on that. Somewhere in this group, or if you're watching this replay on YouTube, there is a link. Just search Coldlytics, and below it, it's an affiliate link, but if you're interested in that, it'll get you some extra bonus contact information. Coldlytics charges per number of contacts they get and verify for you. If you want, go ahead and do that, but using my affiliate link, you'll get a couple of extra stuff. Bar2, cool name, by the way. How would you guys try and reach experienced affiliates through paid ads? What targeting method would you use? Trying to find affiliates for a new SaaS. And is it even allowed to mention the word affiliate in a Facebook ad, or will it get the ad suspended? I'm not saying this is a bad thing, Bar2, to use Facebook ads, but Facebook ads wouldn't be my first way of targeting affiliates. I would go to the forums and places where the big affiliates hang out, like JVZoo. It's been a couple of years, so I'm probably out of the loop a little bit, but there's lots of little like affiliate groups and places where they're having conversations and forums, and I would identify, because you want to think 80-20 about this, right? Where if you're going after affiliates, like, you could get 100 affiliates, and like maybe 5 of those people will make more sales than the other 95. So your best thing is to identify those top 5 people and see if you can get in their things, and especially ones who are already selling related products, because then it's like it's an easy add-on. And so those are the people I would spend a little bit of time, and this is probably going to be very manual, but I would go into groups and things and identify who are those people who are like actually moving the needle with affiliate stuff. And then what I would do is I would have a conversation directly with those people, make them an irresistible offer, and like have it add on to their structure. Because if you can get it in their flow as like an upsell or an add-on or a series of their emails, not only will you make sales once, but just like ongoing. And that's what you really need for a SaaS, is ongoing. So my advice is, don't run paid ads, identify the power players, and just like old school, one-to-one, like build some relationships with those people. James, who here owns their agency? What is the biggest constraint and bottleneck? I think there's a lot of agency owners, James, who own their agency that are little like 1-2-man crews. Like, I don't think that's uncommon. Obviously, there's bigger agencies too. You know, I have some friends who run agencies that do. I think on the high end, I think the highest agency friend I have is doing, I would say like a couple million a month. So maybe like 40 million a year. That's the highest side at least that I know personally. What is the biggest constraint and bottleneck? Well, this depends on where you're at. This is why I wrote about, by the way, in the book, the 5 stages of agency growth, because it's to help you identify your biggest constraint. On level 1, your biggest constraint is sales, and the biggest thing that'll make sales easier is just to make an irresistible offer and fucking put it in front of people. People like way overcomplicate that. They like dick around with their website and they try to get business cards. Like, come up with a really easy to say yes to offer, put it in front of people. That's stage 1. Stage 2 is when the process bottlenecks because of your hiring, because you don't know how to bring in good people. And so you just need to have a screening process. I wrote about a really awesome screening process in version 2.0, and it is to audition instead of interview. So like, test people, run a trial assignment, test them. Stage 3 is when you become the manager, and what happens is when you first get into the manager stage, you're almost like you just built this team. It's like, it's a little disorganized because You know, like your agency has evolved over time, and so you didn't necessarily like think about where do I want to be in 2 years from now when you reach this stage. And what ends up happening is employees just bring you shit all day long, and so the constraint is actually you. And what you need to do is identify the 5 to 10 key things that are most important in the agency and just work those like a religion, and get your whole team working those things as well. Because otherwise what ends up happening is people will interrupt you all day long with trivial, unimportant shit. And that's the constraint in stage 3. The constraint in stage 4 is you almost grow so big, and this happens to every business, but especially service businesses, is what ends up happening is like there's all kinds of opportunities coming your way, but the quality of your shit has slipped. Like, I don't know if any of you guys experienced this, but like when I first started online marketing, I used HostGator, and they had like phenomenal fucking customer support. I can actually remember having an issue where I let a friend host a website on my thing, and he had a little argument with a freelancer about like $10, $5, something really small, and the guy deleted the whole hosting account, including all my websites, which is, by the way, why I don't let people host shit on my stuff anymore. But anyway, I remember reaching out to HostGator, and they say, well, we make a backup every Monday. You'll lose a day or two's worth of work, but we can restore everything. And they had it like all sorted within an hour. I got to their customer support. That was them in the beginning. If you hire HostGator support now, or you hire HostGator, it's a big company. Their fucking hosting is slow as fuck. Their customer support is slow as fuck. They don't give you personalized help. They just send you to documents. And you can see the level of customer support that's like gone to shit as the companies got big. That happens to every company as they get big, and you have to get back to the basics and what made you really big in the first place. Like I said, when I first got there, they were laser fast. They had all kinds of great solutions. They went above and beyond. Those are the things you got to redo when you reach stage 4. And then in stage 5, your biggest constraint is like literally you get so big that just opportunities come at you every 2 seconds, and you have no, like, entrepreneurs by nature, we have ADD. So like, you can't even execute, you can't even like process them all, let alone execute them all. And so you need some like process and filter to understand what's worth going after, and you got to say no a fuck of a lot. But those are basically all the constraints you're going to face in growing an agency, and if you can manage those, you can get through anything. But the key is like you got to identify your real biggest constraint today and then work it. Lana, what's up, Lana? Frankie Finn, we wanted to buy your new book, but Amazon chose the old one. Do you have a link? It's the same link, by the way. Just when you buy it, I've updated it on the back end so you get the new version. But it's not really a different link. So when I upload version 2, to give you an idea of the back end, so Kindle Direct Publishing, there's 3 different places I have to publish a book. There's Kindle Direct Publishing, and they have 2 things. They have an ebook version and an audio or a physical version, and then there's something called ACX, which is what Audible does. So I've published to all 3. Kindle takes like an hour, and then they say all good, and they upload the new version. So if you have Kindle, it'll update. If you do physical copy, then you'll get like that mailed to you, and then the Audible is in the approval process, so it should update for you guys automatically that own the digital versions. But I'm a physical guy, so I like the physical book. But if you buy the physical book, that's what you'll get. Barnsey, is there a reason to use WordPress.com for WordPress hosting? It seems to be a more expensive version of every other cloud hosting. Am I missing something? No, you're not, Barnsey. WordPress.com is like really good because it's an introductory thing for beginners. And so there's a value add because you can create like a hosted thing there. And then when you want your own hosting, they make it easy to switch. But as you've figured out, it's not actually a good solution. It's just most people have momentum. In the same way that like GoDaddy's kind of shit, but a lot of people like buy hosting from GoDaddy because you're already registering your domain, and then they're like, do you want to add hosting to your cart? It just seems easier just to add it in one place. And so, those are their upsells, and their upsells are kind of just like substandard. There are some places that have cool upsells that are not substandard, but GoDaddy and WordPress.com are not those people. So I wouldn't personally. Randall, hey guys, long-time reader, first-time poster. Good to see you, Randall. I may have some clients for sale in a couple months. I'm getting out of agency work and focusing on speaking, consulting, and copywriting only. No more digital media for me. Got to around 300K and decided I don't love agency life, even after giving it the best shot to get from 300K to 1 million. I hit that higher great talent ceiling, and I'm just not built for managing people. I tried it, I hate it, but I love copywriting, so that's where I'll stay. So if anyone is interested, hit me up. proven campaigns, split-tested ads, split-tested landing page, optimized keywords, social retargeting place, call tracking, bulletproof, automations, pipelines in place. The trouble with scaling talent, if you're good at that, let's talk. Admins, if this post isn't cool, feel free to delete. Otherwise, if you're down to acquire some modest but meaningful revenue, message me. As they say, every 100K counts. Randall, my man. Growing an agency is not always fun. Like, I think growing any business is not always fun. But in the agency thing, we work with clients, and clients can remind you, like, you know, as you're scaling and your systems are breaking. I find, by the way, every time your agency triples in size, the systems break. So if you get to like 5K, you have one set level of systems. Then you get to 15, you get a different level of systems. You get to 45K a month, it's a different level of systems than if you get to like, you know, 120 or so. And it's a different level of systems at 300, and it's a different level of systems at 1 million. So every time you triple your business, you break the existing infrastructure. And it sounds like in your case, you did that. Now, I will tell you, I'm not trying to change your mind about that, but just reading your post, it jumps out at me that you weren't niche focused. Because there's nothing about a niche. And so your problem actually wasn't hiring great talent. It's that you had to come up with custom solutions for every client. And so the only solution you can have for that is hiring great talent. I used to run an agency like that, and you're always trying to find great talent on a budget. Now I run the kind of agency like, I don't know, we have 3 virtual assistants, and it's low maintenance as fuck. And actually one of the virtual assistants works full time, really more in my mentorship and coaching business. So I really only have 2 agency side. And that's it. Like, we can manage 50 or 100 clients with very little effort because we're doing the same things over and over. Like you mentioned, you got a working landing page. Well, if you could use that landing page 50 places, like how much work is that? Copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. That can be done by a virtual assistant. When you need like great top tier talent, it's assigned to me you're doing too many things, and therefore it's not actually a talent issue. But having said that, I'm sure there's some people who can bring in great talent and take what you've done and run with it, especially if you sell the clients off like in different niches piece by piece. So, but having said that, man, it sounds like you made agency life harder by not picking a niche. And this is something I wrote about in the book because I want you guys to do shit once and get paid twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. Like copy and paste, copy and paste. That's what your delivery should be about. And this is a thing that's hard to understand when you first start doing this. You take a little drink for this rant. It's better for the fucking clients. Clients want results. They don't want doing. So like I use a website as a really good example of this. Let's say you're selling custom websites. Okay? What's typically involved in a custom website, right? Like a custom website is a bunch of back and forth with some clients, and you know, you make a change and then you send them, hey, what do you think? And then you wait, and I call this the ping pong, but it goes back and forth. And sometimes like a custom website, just that back and forth will take like 3 to 6 months typically to actually get it done and finalized. So we're talking half a year to get their website up. Imagine, for example, and this is a real scenario because it's a guy in our mastermind. Imagine you had a bitchin' awesome cleaning website. In his case, the cleaning website, the biggest thing is they get a lot of tire kickers who call them and say, can you give me a quote on this and this? And a lot of those people just hang up the phone after they get the quote. So he's like, we can make the website give the quotes, and he's got a math formula behind it. And then the only people who call are like kind of like pre-sold because they already know how much it costs and all that. So it makes less phone calls but better phone calls. And the website looks fucking great and converts, right? If you did that for one cleaning company, do you think another cleaning company in another geography could benefit from the same basic website? Like, yeah, you'd have to personalize the phone number and the colors and the logo, and maybe change the content a little bit. But why would they want a new website? They just want, if this one's already working and generating high quality phone calls, they would take that website right fucking now with a few little tweaks. And so that's a perfect example. I wrote about this in detail in the book, but it's the difference between what I call custom and customization. And the difference between the two is custom is when you start everything from zero and you're reinventing the wheel. And customization is when you basically already have like the solution 90% finished and you're just personalizing. And if you do that, agencies scale much easier. So I know it's a little bit of a rant, but I think it's really going to be really valuable to those of you guys who understand this, because what works for one plumber will work for 3,000 other plumbers. Like, do not fucking reinvent the wheel. Learn to copy and paste for clients too. And then what ends up happening is there's an energy curve. What happens is when you do custom work, every time you get a new client, it's 100% effort, 100% effort, 100% effort every single time. And you don't have unlimited energy to do shit. If you're copy and pasting, it's 100% effort for the first client. The client 2 is like 10% effort. Client 3 is 5% effort. Client 4 is 5. And so your effort goes far, far farther, and therefore you can manage it with small teams and have much more consistency. In the same way, like McDonald's doesn't need great hamburger chefs. They have a system, right? Like it's a copy and paste system. They just step into our system and you'll be a successful McDonald's owner. That's where you want to get your agency if you want to eliminate so many of the burnt out challenges and hiring great staff that you're talking about. Anyway, end rant. Renata, I feel like as an agency owner and a beginner in the Go high level platform, changes happen rapidly and I can't keep up. Anyone else feel that way? I have not yet got to automation. I don't really know the SaaS program, and now they got the mobile app white labeling. Bro, Renata, I feel you. So when I first started, there was a SEO tool called SC Nuke, Search Engine Nuke. And in the beginning, early years, it was like a cheat code to being able to rank, because they could build automated backlinks at scale. And if you set up the program right, it could do like high quality shit, right? Like you could do spammy stuff too. But I personally use it for like high quality building links at scale. And it worked really, really fucking well. So like I liked doing it. And then one day Google just changed the rules, and then SENuke changed the software, and it was like this cat and mouse game. And I tell you this because since I've started, I've learned probably 10 to 30 new pieces of software every year for 15 years. And I'll tell you, I'm so fucking sick of software and automation and tools. And the longer I do this, I think about simplifying my deliverable to have like an 80-20 highest value effect. So I work more with customers and I work more with bringing like their highest value shit. And that can be done with a couple of emails or a couple of direct mail or a couple of text messages, and have a huge, huge impact on a business. And I'll tell you, the part of the reason I do this is because, like you, I'm just sick of fucking learning software. I'm sick of learning updates. I'm sick of watching tutorials and trying to figure it out and hire people. And the longer I do this, the less and less software my agency has. That may not be the right solution for you. Like a lot of our mastermind members use Go high level and fucking love it. So I'm not like shitting on Go high level. This is just my general attitude towards software. Like we have very, very, very little software in our agency now. We've got Loom. I use Lead Pages because I crank out a lot of landing pages and they help me do it quickly. I use Aweber to send some emails, and I can't really think of much else. There's probably like one or two things I'm forgetting, but like we really, I guess hosting, but like we really don't use a lot, and I try to do it less and less and less, which is I'm looking for direct mail. And this is an actual key concept, because I'll tell you, when Jeff Bezos started Amazon, one of the things he was thinking about why they first only sold books is because he wanted something that was still going to be around in 10 years. And what I've realized for most of the software, and I'm not saying Go high level is this case, but like most of the software just simply won't be around in 10 years. And so you're always going to be having to learn new software and tools, which if you love the tech, if you're the kind of person who like loves like diving into that shit, by all means. I'm not one of those people. So for me, it's like, I got to learn another fucking piece of software. Watch a goddamn tutorial video. And I fucking hate those kind of details. So I think about like what's still going to be around. Like direct mail is still going to be around. Sending emails is still going to be around. Text messages most likely still be around. So I think about like simplifying my deliverables, having that 80-20 impact, and then bringing people their highest value $100 bill clients. And if you do that, then your shit will never go out of style, and you won't have to get balls deep or ovaries deep in all the tech. So I hope that helps you. But if not, like learn the software. Like if you like that kind of stuff, get into it and figure it out. Anne says, advice needed. How do you grow your Facebook group? And I don't know if I'm the best person to ask. It's not like I have a massive, giant Facebook group. I think we got like 1,200 people or something like that in there. But I'll tell you, I do have, for the size of it, I have one of the most engaged groups in existence. And I'll tell you, if growing a Facebook group changes if you understand a couple of things. First thing is that your opening post, whatever that is in the group, is like a lead magnet. Like if you wanted somebody to join your email list, you never say just join my email list just because. You say join my email list and get something. And it's the what they're going to get, what you're actually offering. Usually to me, I go like this because I make one page, like really valuable spreadsheets and things like that, or checklists. But it's the what they're going to get is the reason why they want to join your list. So like in my case, it might be like learn how to sell without a phone call, right? Join my list and do something like that. I think right now, I forget where we're actually offering, but so that's my way of saying part of how you get people to join the group is you don't say join my group, you say join my group and get, and think really hard about that and get that'll appeal to the right kind of person you want to join the group. The other thing is I have a friend, Mark Mawhinney. He's a really cool dude in the coaching space, and he has a Facebook group about 20,000 people. And I asked him, like, and it's a very engaged group for 20,000 people. Like, a lot of groups of 20,000 people, like, they're not. But I asked him, like, how did you build this community so big? And he said, it's not fucking rocket science. I create content all day long. And every podcast, I mention the group. Every video, I mention the group. Every article I publish, I mention the group. Every Facebook post, I mention the group. Every LinkedIn post, I mention the group. When I go on other people's shows, I mention the group. So I realized it's not like he had one magic ad or one magic... It was just 10,000 little things done over and over and over. So that's my way of saying it's probably not sexy, but if you want to grow a group and actually build a community, then you got to do that long term. And then I'll tell you this. The other thing with growing a group is pick a subject that you would enjoy talking about. Because for me, like this agency stuff, it's been 15 years of my life. Most of my friends and family, like, that I've known growing up forget that they don't understand what I do. Like, they can't even understand. Like, if I try and tell my mom, like, I had an SEO agency or ran Facebook ads, like, it's just above her head. Like, she just doesn't understand that kind of stuff. So for me, it's almost like therapy to be able to talk to you guys about, click-through rates and things we worry about, clients and results and hiring and all those kind of things. So that's my way of saying I can't fucking shut up about it. So I would suggest you pick a topic you can't shut up about. And I'll tell you why this is important. Because in the beginning of growing a group, it's going to be really tiny, it's going to be really quiet, and nobody is going to listen to you. And so I'll tell you, like, the first, I don't know, if you can go back to the very beginning, there were like 10 people in this group. Like, we all started at zero, and they were mostly just a couple of friends. And whatever I posted, like, nobody gave a shit about, right? So, but I can't shut up about it. So I'm going to talk about agency stuff probably till I'm fucking dead, right? So probably 3 children, it'll happen sooner than later. These guys will kill me with no sleep. But that's my way of saying those are the 3 elements to me of like growing a Facebook group, because it's a community and it needs time to build some momentum and to have people engage with you. So thing number 1 is have a reason for them to join. What are they going to get by joining that group? Thing number 2 is you're always promoting the fucking group. You're never not promoting the group. And then thing number 3 is like choose a topic that you can't shut up about that's valuable to people. And what you'll find is the group will definitely grow, and it'll happen automatically. So I hope that's helpful to you, Anne. I know it's probably not that exciting of an answer, but that's just the truth. I know there's people who've grown groups with Facebook ads and things like that, but at the end of the day, you're still going to have to do those things. They're still going to have to get something inside, and you're still going to have to, give them value and things like that. So... yeah, and for those of you guys who missed the beginning, by the way, I may not do this next week as baby number 3 is on the way, but version 2.0, the book is on Amazon. If you go to the listing, the same old listing will give you version 2.0. If you have Kindle, it should update automatically. If you have Audible, it should update automatically, but that's in an approval process. And then if you order the physical copy, you'll get the new version. This is version 1.0. But if you actually order it, it's been updated on the back end. What's different this time around is a couple of things. Number 1 is I wanted to show you guys how we've, for the last 2.5 years, been phoneless and meetingless, in our sales process, in our hiring process, and in our client management process. So we're 100% phoneless and meetingless. I don't have meetings with clients. I don't have interviews where I jump on phone calls with people to do an interview. And I don't have sales calls in our agency anymore. And I've learned that we get so much more done without the fucking phone. And on a much more deeper level, it's more enjoyable. And so I put that inside the book for you guys to show you how you guys can do that. I've helped a lot of people in our mastermind, but after working with hundreds of you guys, maybe even thousands, I wanted to put some of the biggest, best ideas in there. There's also, I've scaled miserably. Like my first agency, I grew to 100 plus clients, and there were so many growing pains. There were so many things I didn't know, and hiring, and I broke it, and I was stressed the fuck out constantly. This agency I probably scaled a little bit slower, but it's been the most easy, effortless thing I've ever grown in my life. And I want to show you guys the latter because, you know, you can do it like through effort and hard work and have 48 to 80 hours a week. But you can also do it like having systems and processes 10 hours a week, copy and paste deliverables, and have clients be fucking thrilled about it. That's the version I want to show you in version 2.0 is the low maintenance way where clients are happy and you're scaling and it's great. And then there's a couple of big ideas here. Looks like we're on the brink of a recession. So there's a whole new chapter that's dedicated to what you do in a recession. And this comes down to most of us in the agency space, by the way, were brought up with poor and middle class values. And so if you've grown up with poor and middle class values like I did, it's like go to school, get a good job, work hard. And like, you know, there's nothing wrong with that if that's the kind of life you want, but most of us here want a different kind of life, which is why we're doing it. That will get you a poor and middle class like system. Like you'll build your agency the wrong way because you won't think like rich people think. And so I show you how rich people earn their money and how to apply this to the agency space. So basically that you can acquire discount or assets on a discount and then use those to scale up and essentially get rich with a lot of leverage on your effort. And so being paid for what you own rather than what you do. And I'll give you a little simple example of this, which is I say to people all the time, what would you rather have, a $2,500 per month Facebook ad client, or would you rather have a system that clients are happily paying $2,500 per month that just happens to use Facebook ads? And almost always people say, I would rather own the system, right? Because the system is repeatable and clonable. And while that's true and obvious, I'll tell you in practice, most agency owners do the opposite. They're after the client, not ownership of the system. And so what I've shown you guys in here is to how to own systems, how to own processes, how to get these on a discount, how to own customer lists, how to own data, and how to resell that shit over and over and over and over and over and do it in a way where it's no effort for you to deliver it, right? So when there's no effort to deliver, you just use your marketing know-how to acquire those assets and make them more valuable, and it works really fucking well in a recession. I'm not cheering for recessions because a lot of good people get hurt, but if it happens, I want you guys to have the best financial year of your entire fucking life. So I wrote about it. The book's probably 15,000 words longer. I had more shit I wanted to say. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a little bit wordy, but I think it's really amazing. And then also, there's some stuff in there about how to take your existing service and just like get 10x the price for it. Like I see sometimes people struggling to sell their package for $1,000, and there's strategies in there how you can take the exact thing and sell it for $10,000 with no pushback. I know that sounds probably a little hypey and unbelievable if you've never done it before, but I promise you it's happened to me and some of my clients so many times that it's true. Like one of the things I've helped a lot of people do is raise their prices for the same thing. And it's not always about like tweaking what you're doing per se as much as tweaking like what you bring your clients. So a simple example for that, let's say you do websites and SEO. I used to do websites and SEO for plastic surgeons, and that was one price. I think I used to charge $800 a month for that. That was my going price. I wouldn't suggest you charge that, but I did at those. That was just my price at those times. One day, a plastic surgeon said to me, "Can you build me a mommy makeover website?" And mommy makeover websites, they're $40,000 package that they sell, so it's very expensive. The guy said, "Can you build me a mommy makeover website?" And I said, "Of course. It's just a website with different content on it." He said, "Do you think you could rank it for mommy makeover keywords?" And I looked, and surprisingly, the mommy makeover keywords were actually a little bit easier than some of the more broader, big search volume, like plastic surgery, Beverly Hills, had a gazillion searches. But mommy makeover, Beverly Hills, had a smaller amount of searches and therefore had like less competition. But again, it's the $40,000 thing. So long story short, we built and ranked their mommy makeover websites, and that was easy to sell, and it's super valuable to the client because every time somebody comes out of that website, they make $40,000, right? So if you do stuff like that, it immediately makes your stuff more valuable. And I'm still cranking out websites and doing SEO. In fact, I'm doing easier SEO when we started doing that. So I want to show you guys how to, like a systematic process for how to do that in the book. So that's all the new stuff that's in there. If you haven't already, give it a read. I know some of the stuff is the same. Some of the chapters are very, very similar or identical. But when you get into the meat and potatoes of it, it's a totally different way of running an agency. It's run as an investor or a partner instead of like basically how most people run an agency, which is how I ran my agency for 10 years, which is an underling. For clients to boss you around, like you feel like an employee the way most people do it. But when you come in as an investor or partner, you're just grabbing assets, flipping them, improving them, and making shit happen and copy and pasting results. And you can have a small team or no team at all if you want. But I'll show you how to put all that together and how to systematize and organize it so the thing runs without you. So at the end of it is what I call the more beach, less laptop lifestyle, but done in a real way where you own a real business that runs without you, in the same way that a McDonald's owner owns a real business that runs without them, right? Like, it doesn't depend on them showing up every day to flip burgers. That's the kind of agency I want you to have, which is cranking out burgers in the background, but you having a fucking life, to be with your family, to go places, to do things, and having income and those kind of things, and only doing the parts of the agency that you really enjoy. So that's a long rant, but I put a lot of love into that, and I did that in a real damn hurry because, like I said, baby number 3 is on the way, and I wanted you guys to be able to check that out before baby number 3. So that's all I got for you guys in this. 40 minutes is enough of a rant for me. Much love to you guys. May the force be with you, and thank you guys who stuck with me all the way to the end of this. I really do appreciate you guys. You guys are the coolest.